this is my favorite time of the year, even though it is a little stressful and chaotic because it's currently final season and I just woke up with a fever and a sore throat. But I do love the holidays. My birthday is on the 21st, so I can't wait for that. And the end of the year just always feels like a fresh start. So in this video, I'm going to share 17 ways that you can prepare to make 2023 a really good year. Category 1, I'm titling "'Tis the Season." It's pretty late at this point, but if you do have any holiday preparations left to do, let's get her done. I feel like this time of year, since I'm so busy and stressed, I have to really remind myself to actually pause and enjoy the festive season. So number 1, finish up any gift shopping. I just went to the Christmas markets here in Segovia to find some gifts to bring home for my parents and friends, and I also prepared a gift for our class Secret Santa gift exchange. And then last weekend, or actually I have no sense of like the passing of time right now, so it could have been last weekend, it could have been 2 weekends ago, but I took an entire day to go shopping for decorations and decorate my apartment for Christmas. I cannot overstate how much happiness it brings me to look at my cozy lights, my little baby Christmas tree in the corner, and as you can also see, I've been putting on one of those live Christmas jazz streams on YouTube. Very nice. And then finally, 'tis the season to spend time with people you love. So I was thinking about having a holiday party for a long time, and I finally went ahead and scheduled it. I invited some friends over to decorate gingerbread houses and have a hot cocoa bar and watch a Christmas movie. So I'm really excited. That's like keeping me going through this finals week. And it doesn't have to be anything complicated. You can just invite friends over to watch a holiday movie, or you can invite a friend to go to a coffee shop and do your New Year's planning together. Just spend time with the people you love. Before we move on to thinking about 2023, I feel like we have to give 2022 a proper send-off. So the first thing I like to do is make a really big list of all of the accomplishments from this year that I can think of. Big or small, just anything that I was proud of. And I can barely remember what I did last week, so it's really helpful to me to reference my day 1 journal entries to actually remember what I did this year. So some of the things that I wrote down when I was doing this process were that I was really proud of my grades this year. I ended my second semester of my first year of college with a 9.5 GPA, but most importantly, I really enjoyed second semester. Like, I felt so academically engaged, and I also found myself not worrying too much about grades, just like literally having a good time. A really big thing is that I moved into this apartment. This is my first time living truly on my own, and I've just been really proud of how I've made this space my own and also figured out just all the cooking, cleaning, home maintenance stuff. I think I've been doing a really good job of adulting here. Quitting something can also be something to be proud of. So last year I signed up for this thing called the Econ Data Lab, which is like a cross between a class and an internship. I saw pretty quickly that it was not what I expected, and I was really not enjoying it, so I quit it, and I never once regretted that decision. On the reverse side of that, I was very intentional this year about which extracurricular I would join, extracurricular singular, because I told myself I'm not doing more than one club. I got involved with the music club, and I am their communications manager this year, and it's just been such a positive thing in my life. Like, I love working with these people. I've had so much fun with it, and I'm really proud of all of the photo shoots and other work that I've produced for them. So then I like to make a list of happy memories from this year. So these are very specific moments that are just stuck in my memory from the past year. So I wrote down the Bastille concert that I saw recently. That was amazing, as was the Flume concert that I saw back in May. Like, just some really good concerts this year. I wrote down singing 21 Pilots karaoke on this one bus ride home from Madrid with my friend. Like, really specific memories that really encapsulate the year for me for some reason. Oh, and I also wrote down over spring break, I got to take a trip to Vancouver, Seattle, and Portland, and I just very clearly remember walking around Vancouver. That was my first destination, and just absolutely vibing. Like, I was exploring on my own. The scenery was so beautiful. This was a place that I had wanted to visit for a long time, and I was just realizing that I had made it happen. Like, it's one of those moments where you remember that you're an adult and you have free will, and if you want to visit a place, you can save up for it and plan for it and actually make it happen. And that's a wild concept. Next, I like to make a list of people that I appreciated this year. It's just a really nice way to remind yourself of who is supporting you and that you're not in this alone. These I won't share because they're pretty personal, but I definitely had some realizations while writing this that like some of the most important people in my life right now, I haven't even known for that long. Like I literally met them this year, and I'm so glad that whatever aligned in the universe aligned in the way that it did, that I got to meet them. It's kind of cheesy, I know. So basically I start with these three things: the accomplishments, the happy memories, and the people, because even though there were some tough times this year, I want to start off this process by focusing on all the good things. But then I do weigh the good with the bad, and I look more closely at each of the areas of my life. So this is the list of like life areas or categories that I use when I'm doing my monthly review process. So I write a little bit in general about how each area is doing. I give a rating out of 10 for how it currently is, and then just write a few things that might get that rating up, would improve that area of my life. So these are all the ratings that I assigned for this year. Home and environment is an absolute 10 out of 10 because, as I said, I love my apartment and I'm so proud of what I've done with it. So nothing to improve there. Some of the less great categories were learning. I did not even get to half of my Goodreads reading challenge. Mental health was also not an amazing category this year. I definitely struggled over winter break and over the summer, just feeling kind of aimless. And then I was doing really well when the second year of school started, and then it kind of took a hit again as finals set in. Career was an interesting category because I literally took a break from YouTube for 9 months. That was really weird for me, and I'm really proud of myself for managing to get back into it because that was difficult, but I definitely feel a little bit like out of the loop right now with YouTube. I don't know if you've noticed, but I haven't been posting as often. I've hardly posted on my Instagram feed, and I don't know, I want to enjoy it as much as I used to and get back into like a consistent schedule with it. Oh, and another really good category was the category of friends. So I gave that a 9 out of 10 because, as I said, when I was writing my list of important people, I was really surprised at how many friendships were formed this year that are already so important to me. I've also done a good job of keeping in touch with my friends back home, and I've made an active effort this semester especially to get to know people better if I'm interested in being friends with them. Because like friendships happen automatically in middle school and high school, and I've learned they don't really happen that way in college anymore, and I actually have to make an effort. So I have been making an effort, and that has been super, super rewarding. And then one last thing I did for the reviewing part is I have this Artist of Life workbook from Lavender that I took a page of inspiration from, kind of literally, and I wrote out some things that did not work in 2022, like mistakes or failures or whatever you want to call them, and the lessons that I learned from those experiences. So one thing I wrote down is that I had a tendency this year to let messages and emails pile me up and stress me out and make me avoid responding to them, which then makes them pile up more and stress me out more. Another mistake that I wrote down was, so I said no to a lot of clubs and extracurriculars, but I did say yes to this one project. It was the yearbook for our degree. It just ended up being a really bad experience, and it never even ended up happening in the end, so all the time that we put into it was kind of wasted. But it was just yet another reminder that if I'm not super excited about a project, I should say no to it. I wrote down that I didn't read much. Like I kept trying to establish a reading habit of reading before bed, and that just doesn't really work for me because I am tired and unfocused before bed, so I need to try something new with that. Okay, this is the exciting part. Now we get to dream about what the year holds in store for us and what we want to make of it. So one thing you might want to do is set a theme for the year. Basically a word or a phrase that is going to guide you in everything that you do this year. I personally feel overwhelmed by the idea of trying to plan for an entire year, so I like to go quarter by quarter and just set a theme for these next 3 months. There's a really good video that I would recommend by CGP Grey where he talks about the power of having a very simple theme. So maybe your theme for the year or for the quarter is something like health or learning or connection. And so basically at any point in your life when you have to make a decision, this overarching theme is always in the back of your mind. So he gives the example of, let's say you are standing waiting in line at a coffee shop, you have a few minutes to kill, and you're wondering what to do, all you have is your phone with you. And so if your theme at the moment is reading, you would pull up Kindle and open up an ebook. If your theme is learning, you might open up a language learning app and get some practice in. If your theme is connection, maybe you text someone that you haven't caught up with in a while. So it is purposefully very vague and very general so that it can be applied to your life in a bunch of different ways. So my theme for this year is boldness. I feel like I've definitely lost some of my boldness and confidence. Like in some areas it has improved. I was a lot more nervous to speak up in class last year, and now I'm pretty much fine with it and fine with giving presentations. But like in the area of YouTube, for example, I think starting my YouTube channel was one of the most confident and bold things I've ever done, especially when I was uploading videos consistently and almost no one was watching them. Like that is pretty bold. But now I feel like I've started college and I have this fear again of my classmates watching what I put out online. Like I just don't like the idea of that. And then in another area of my life, this semester I've just been working out at home because I don't know, I've just settled into a really good routine. It is very comfortable to work out in my apartment, very convenient, and I save money on not having a gym membership like I did last year. But lately I've been missing going to an actual gym, and it's even become a little intimidating to me, like working out around other people, even though I used to be perfectly fine with it just because I haven't done it in a while. So that is an area where I need to regain my boldness. I also wrote that in the area of friendship, being bold and getting to know people that I want to get to know better has really paid off for me this year, so it's something I want to continue doing this year. And finally, I wrote that I also want to be more bold romantically because that is something that is quite difficult for me and something that I am working on. Okay, moving on. So similar to setting a theme for the year, you can also make a vision board. It's similar because it's also very intentionally vague. It's just supposed to kind of loosely guide you as you make decisions this year. So you can either make a paper one and cut up some magazines, make a collage, or what I like to do is go on Pinterest and find a bunch of pictures, download them, and make a simple collage to use as my computer wallpaper. So once you have like this general idea of what you want your year to look like, if you want to get more specific, you can set actual SMART goals. So let's say your theme for the year is learning, and specifically you want to learn a new language. So then what is something specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-based that you could do to work on that? I've personally improved my Spanish a lot with Lingoda language classes, so I want to thank them for sponsoring this video because I know that a lot of people have learning a new language as their New Year's resolution, and I also know that it can be really challenging, and so these online classes with a live tutor I think are one of the best ways to do that. So with Lingoda you can learn Spanish, German, French, or English, and if you want to talk accountability for your New Year's goals, their language sprint is the ultimate form of accountability. I did one of these before starting university here in Spain, and it was so effective. Basically, you're gonna commit to 2 months of language classes, either 15 or 30 classes per month. And if you meet that target and don't miss a single class, you'll get either 50% or 100% cash back. You will spend nothing on these classes if you make it to 30 classes per month for 2 months. Nothing. They are live online classes that are available 24/7, so you'll always be able to find ones that work for your schedule. And the important thing is that it really forces you to speak from the very beginning, so you build a lot of confidence in your target language. Plus, it keeps you super accountable and consistent, knowing that you are striving to get that cash back at the end of it. You can learn more about the Lingoda language sprint using the link in the description, and if you use my code BLISSWINTER, you can get $25 or 20 euros off your deposit. So again, when it comes to these goals, I am overwhelmed by the idea of trying to set goals for an entire year, so I break it down into smaller chunks, and I set a few simple goals for just the first 3 months of the year. I will share some of the ones that are not too personal for me to share. One goal I have, very fitting with the theme of boldness, is to get a tattoo. This would be my first tattoo. I already know what design I want. I'm just not entirely sure where I want it and where like what tattoo parlor I'll get it at, but I really want to get a tattoo. And I also wrote that I need to find an apartment in Madrid for the next school year. That's not really related to boldness, it's just something that needs to happen. But more along the lines of boldness, I want to make like a personal resume website. I have my LinkedIn and I have just a Google, like a boring Google Doc that is my resume, but I want a website. I don't know, I think it'd be really cool. And then I also wrote down that on Instagram, I would like to start posting a reel per week, maybe, and on my Instagram feed once per week. Another thing you can do is write a bucket list, either a bucket list just for this year or more of a general life bucket list. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy like, I don't know, skydiving. It just has to be little things that would push you out of your comfort zone that you maybe otherwise would not have done. And finally, to finish off the process, I like to just review the calendar for the year ahead and get like a big picture overview of what's going on. So for example, next year, I can look at my class schedule. When is my spring break going to be? When am I gonna have long weekends? What are my summer plans? What more or less needs to be done in each month? Like which month should I be apartment searching? Which month should I be planning for the summer trip that I'm taking? Which month should I be thinking about internships, etc. Finally, I really need to start the year feeling organized and on top of things. So there are a few things that I like to do. One area to improve on or to review is your finances. So making sure that everything is up to date or setting up a completely new budgeting system if you need to. So at the beginning of this year, I was using Google Sheets, like very basic spreadsheets for my budgeting. But now that things have gotten a little more complicated living on my own, I've started using an app called You Need a Budget, which also has a 1-year free version for students that I would take advantage of if I were you. You can go over what expenses you've had for the year and cancel any subscriptions you don't need anymore, or see which categories might need some tightening up. You can review what you might need to save for in the new year. So I personally have set up like a little savings category in my budget for a trip that I am taking this summer with my friend. And I also took a look at my retirement savings account that I have on Betterment and just adjusted the deposits that were going into that. It's also a good time to organize your space. So I actually had to clean my apartment 2 weeks ago because we just finished this big filming project for school, and so my apartment was an absolute disorganized mess. So I took everything out, I decluttered, I cleaned, like deep cleaned everything, and now I'm so happy because I get to start the new year with a perfectly clean apartment. You can also set aside some time to organize your digital files. I definitely really needed this because I had not backed up and organized my photos in a while, so I did that. I also took a look at the hard drives where I store all my YouTube footage because those were filling up, and I looked through my Google Drive, which I use for school documents, and just cleaned that up a little bit. And then finally, a little bonus item that I've thrown in here, number 17, is to try and change your appearance in some way. Again, doesn't have to be anything huge. It can just be, I don't know, dyeing your hair, or getting a haircut, or getting a manicure, or trying a new makeup look, or a different outfit, like anything that just makes you feel renewed for the new year. So I went to the hair salon because I really needed a haircut. My hair at the end, so it barely changed. Like honestly, if I had not told people that I got a haircut, nobody probably would have noticed, but I noticed, and it's a little change that makes me happy. So thank you for watching this video, even if you may also be stressed out with finals or holiday travel or whatever it may be. We all took a pause together to think about the bigger picture, and I really appreciate you for doing that. Real quick, I also wanted to mention that if you're looking for a last-minute gift for someone, might I suggest my book? It's called Plan and Organize Your Life, and in it I talk about the different pillars of living productively and intentionally. And if you order before Christmas, I am including a little bonus podcast episode where I basically update on all of the techniques that I talk about in the book and how I've adapted them to fit my new university life, which ones I've cut out, which new ones I've started using, and so I hope that makes the book even more helpful to you. If you do purchase the book, just send your order confirmation to my email, hello@theblissbean.com, and I will get that sent over to you. I do plan on uploading one more video before the end of the year, but in any case, I hope you have an amazing holiday season, and I will see you next time. Bye!